The ballroom glittered with golden chandeliers, silk drapes, and the hum of violins. 300 guests filled the room, all eager to witness the wedding of Daniel Harrington, the only son of one of the wealthiest families in the country. But among the waitstaff, dressed in simple black and white uniforms, stood Maria, a quiet maid with tired hands and kind eyes. Maria moved silently, balancing trays of champagne flutes, ignoring the sting in her feet. To the world, she was invisible. To the bride, however, she became the perfect target. Clara, the bride-to-be, swept into the room in her designer gown, her diamonds catching every light. Her smile sparkled, but her eyes carried arrogance. When she noticed Maria arranging a tray near the front, she stopped. Clara sneered, plucking a glass from the tray and tossing it aside. The glass shattered on the marble floor. Gasps echoed through the room. "You can't even carry a tray properly. How pathetic. Look at you, dressed like a beggar among royalty. Don't embarrass us." The room went silent. Maria froze, the sting of humiliation pressing tears to her eyes, but she did not defend herself. Instead, she knelt gracefully, picking up the shards with her bare hands, blood pricking her fingertips. An older woman in the crowd stared, an elegant figure, quiet until now. Her face was soft but worn with years of resilience. She had chosen to remain hidden among the staff, watching silently, because she had insisted on being part of the workers that day. To see the character of the woman her son was about to marry. That woman was Daniel's mother. Daniel's father had died years ago, leaving his mother to raise him alone. To protect him, she never flaunted their wealth. She had worked ordinary jobs, even cleaned houses, to make ends meet before their fortune grew. And though her son was now one of the most powerful businessmen in America, she carried with her the dignity of humility. And tonight, Clara had just humiliated her. Before the guests could recover, Daniel himself entered. He had overheard everything. His face turned pale, then hardened with disbelief as he watched his bride mock the very woman who had given him life. She should learn her place. Daniel stepped forward, his chest tight. His eyes never left Maria. He took her trembling hands, still bleeding from glass shards, and whispered, "Mom, please stop. You don't need to pick that up." A gasp tore through the guests. Clara's smirk vanished as the truth settled over her like a storm. Whispers spread. The maid is his mother. Daniel turned back to Clara, his voice filled with fury and pain. "Oh, this woman you just humiliated. Worked 3 jobs to feed me when my father died. She scrubbed floors so I could study. She went without meals so I could have a future. And you, on the most important day of our lives, chose to insult her." Clara's face drained of color. She stammered, reaching for Daniel's arm. "I didn't know." "Oh, that's the problem," Daniel snapped. "You didn't care to know. My mother's kindness, her humility, it's everything I value. And if you can't respect her, you'll never respect me." The crowd erupted with murmurs, some shaking their heads, others silently applauding Daniel's courage. Clara's diamonds suddenly looked cheap, her gown like a costume. Tears slipped down Maria's cheeks, not from the humiliation, but from her son's defense. She had taught him compassion, and tonight, he proved he had carried it in his heart. Daniel turned to the guests. "There will be no wedding tonight." His voice cracked, but he stood firm. "Because I will not marry someone who can't honor the woman who gave me everything." Clara fled the ballroom, her footsteps echoing in disgrace. The room fell silent again, but then something remarkable happened. One by one, guests approached Maria, not out of pity, but out of respect. They thanked her, praised her strength, and many admitted they had once forgotten the quiet sacrifices of their own mothers. Maria stood there, overwhelmed, clutching Daniel's hand. Later, outside under the night sky, Daniel whispered, "You've always told me kindness is what makes a person truly rich. Tonight, I finally understood." Maria smiled through her tears. "And tonight, you showed the world that wealth is nothing without respect, without compassion." The wedding never happened, but something greater did. That night became a story whispered in boardrooms, universities, and even households. A reminder that true greatness is not found in diamonds or ballrooms, but in honoring those who sacrificed everything for. And as Daniel walked his mother home, the chandeliers fading behind them, Maria realized she had not lost a son to wealth. She had raised a man who would never forget his roots, Because sometimes the most powerful love stories aren't between brides and grooms. They're between mothers and sons. The ballroom shimmered under the chandeliers, every guest dressed in their finest, whispering about the grandeur of the Harrington wedding. Maria moved quietly among them, balancing a tray of champagne. Her hands were rough, her steps careful, her presence almost invisible. To most, she was just another maid. But to Clara, the bride-to-be, Maria became a target. Clara's gown sparkled as she strode forward, her voice sharp enough to silence the string quartet. She plucked a glass from Maria's tray, let it slip, and watched it shatter on the marble floor. "A pathetic," Clara sneered, loud enough for 300 guests to hear. "I can't even hold a tray. You don't belong here. Just a maid among royalty." Maria's cheeks flushed crimson. She bent to gather the shards with her bare hands, ignoring the sting of blood. The crowd gasped, but no one moved to help. She remained silent, her dignity stronger than her pain. From across the room, Daniel entered, his gaze locking on the scene. His stomach twisted. His bride was mocking someone he loved more than anyone else in the world. Someone he had hidden carefully tonight. His mother. Daniel's voice rang out. "Clara, do you know who you're talking to?" Clara turned, smirking. "Isn't it obvious?" Daniel walked to Maria and knelt and gently held her wounded hands. "Mom, please. Stop. You don't have to do this." The air cracked with shock. Guests gasped. Whispers spread like wildfire. "The maid is his mother." Clara's smirk collapsed. "And Mom," she stuttered, "and this is how you treat her?" Silence crushed the room. Clara's face drained of color as Daniel's words echoed. He stood tall, his voice filled with a pain that turned to resolve. "If you can't respect her, you'll never respect me. There will be no wedding." Clara's diamond suddenly meant nothing. "ID basis." She turned pale, stumbling back and fled the ballroom as whispers of disgrace trailed her. Maria's tears fell, not from humiliation but pride. Her son, once a boy she shielded from hunger and hardship, now stood like the man she always prayed he'd become. Guests approached her, bowing their heads, offering words of respect. Some even confessed they had taken their own mothers for granted. Later that night under the stars, Daniel walked Maria home. "You always told me kindness is what makes us truly rich," he whispered. Maria smiled softly. "And tonight, you showed them all what real wealth looks like." The world would remember the scandal of the canceled wedding, but more than that, they would remember the lesson that humility, sacrifice, and love shine brighter than any chandelier. Because the truest love story that night wasn't between a bride and groom. It was between a mother and her son.